This is certainly one of our greatest dilemmas, and rightly pointed out that actually it's the people that make the politics because people vote. But what makes the people and their ideas consider the votes? And that is the information and the stories we're being fed. And this is actually why I said, you know, what we're facing is so much more than, you know, just an environmental issue. We're facing challenges across every sector, and it's been proven that actually if we are going to really address the climate issue, then we need to transition our mindset in every area of the world, basically. So what this points to is information. So what is it that makes people decide what they're going to vote on? It's not actually coming from their own authentic divine intelligence or awareness or wisdom. You know, this is all coming from the information we're being fed. And actually our whole cultural experience is sitting on top of this. It's sitting on top of story. It's sitting on top of information. And of course, the biggest challenge in all of this is the way we are experiencing or receiving information today is being driven by AI or technology. And these platforms are designed in a way that are actually polarizing, which is why we have, and you can all see it, there is an extreme magnification of polarity, that either you believe in climate change or you do not. Now, the second problem is in these platforms that they are increasingly distilling information down into sound bites, so little bite-sized pieces. It's being increasingly distilled down for issues that are increasingly complex. And this means that we are not able to have nuanced conversation. It's not happening. We are not having the deep enough, in-depth enough, long enough, nuanced enough discussions to address the complexity of the issues we are facing. And when you have polarization, you cannot arrive at unified ideas and solutions. You cannot reach a unified consensus. And so if we're going to solve this issue, we actually really need to look at information dissemination, how and where you are getting your information, how and where we are sharing information in the world. How are we going to address the misinformation? Because there's an enormous amount of misinformation. And rest assured, these platforms are being controlled by the individuals who currently are in power based on a fear model of possession and control. And it's really well understood. So the systems are manipulating the human mind. Now, I'm not saying this to try to overwhelm you or frighten you. I'm saying this as truth and for you to be aware. Because you need to start turning over and digging deeper into what you know, what you're being fed, what you understand. And we, with a greater degree of connectivity, need to encourage critical thinking, critical discussion, nuanced conversation and dialogues, and deeper information dissemination. So the only way we're going to change the mindset of the population is to refresh our information. And this is why I've spoken many times about one of my core campaigns, most important campaigns, is to redress the education system, that we actually need to change the way we are learning, we need to change the way information is disseminated, and we need to foster greater capacity for individuals to think for themselves rather than absorb information that they are being told. It's only when we can truly think consciously for ourselves. And that's what I mean by critical thinking. I don't mean critical as in judgmental. I mean critical as in a deep capacity to penetratingly see into things, feel from within our own conscious source. So unless we do this, we're going to be trapped in the same repeating circles of information, and manipulated information at that, and controlling information. And so the greater populace are just regurgitating the ideas that they've been fed. And people want to belong. You know, that's what it means to be human. We want to belong. And what is the thing that unites us? Story. Story is at the root of our culture. So, like I say, hence why I'm very passionate about the campaign of changing education, and also of delivering a new form of education to the world, which is based on original principles of what it means to be human and to live in the world with interconnectedness and creative growth for all. So, of course, that doesn't address, necessarily immediately our political situation, but actually on that point, I can see that things are changing, because we're in this disruptive time. Look, we've got populism. And populism, although it doesn't work, is an indication that the larger society, and there's this growing, escalating percentage of society that are fed up with the same system. So it's already, this disruptive phase is already happening. And so if we can actually mobilize more leadership from outside of the typical arenas, then we're going to bring in a new creative force. Hence why I have taken on a more active role as a social commentator.